It is exactly 33 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Sunday Live here at Citizen Television. On to our interview of the evening. Cabinet Secretary for Labour and Social Protection, Dr. Alfred Mutua, is in the house following that story that we aired a short while ago about thousands of people lining up for jobs in the Middle East.
Be sure to send your questions because the questions are coming in fast and furious.
They are.
There's already one here from Jessica who's asking, ask Mutua how this contract came along. Is it government doing recruitment? If so, what's the purpose or role of licensed recruitment agencies? Why charge recruitment agencies 500K? Then government goes ahead and does recruitment. Is this fair? She asks. Yeah, but I'll start with the 3,000 slots available.
Yes. Actually, the slots are 8,000 slots.
In total?
8,000 slots. What we decided to do was to divide it into sections. Let's see whether we can get to the mark point of 3,000 this time as a first round. And then as we get our things organized, go for the others. So we are hoping that by end of tomorrow, we'll have gotten to that figure of 3,000. Then the team will come again in a few weeks' time to continue with the recruitment. Yeah. So initially it was 7,000. I went to Qatar, pushed, opened doors, made it 8,000. And this is a transition from a country where traditionally it's been the low-level jobs. You know, it's they're all good jobs though. Your security, your house help, and all that. Now we're moving to the professional arena. They don't have any nurses from Kenya. They don't have doctors from Kenya. They don't have managers, senior managers from Kenya. So we opened up that channel, that ability for Kenyans to go and work there. And I want to push so that we can get ICT experts and other professionals with degrees and diplomas to go and work in that country. So
we are saying that this time round you're doing 3,000 in this first phase.
Yes.
There are a total of 8,000 jobs available in Qatar.
In Qatar.
Same company?
One company has given us 8,000. I mean, when the Minister for Labour was here of Qatar, Dr. Ali, I was able to push him to get an additional 200,000 jobs. Currently, there are 67,000 Kenyans working in Qatar, different fields. If we can get to 200,000 jobs in Qatar, it's good for us because it means that we'll be able to absorb a lot of people who've come out of school with degrees, diplomas in hospitality and others who are sitting at home without any work as we wait for this economy to grow. You know, many people are asking a question you may ask is, why are you pushing for job migration? Our President, William Ruto, has been very clear. We are on track to grow the economy. Currently, we have, over 5 million unemployed people. Unemployment rate is quite high in this country, 5.6%. So for us to be able to grow the economy, to absorb the people who are coming in, it will take time. So in the meantime, we are finding people opportunities to work and make money as we grow the economy. And it's also a brain gain because they go there and get a lot of good techniques, good working habits, and they come back here and help build our country.
Brain gain as opposed to brain drain?
Exactly, because we have a large expense. Let me ask you, if you look at the number of nurses that graduate every year, the number of people graduating every year. We've got about 1 million people graduating every year in a country that can only absorb 200,000. I mean, that's a story, of our life. And that's where we want to grow the economy so we can absorb more. So you get 800,000 trained people in different fields who are just sitting here. And when they go, and this has been a very good experience, when they go overseas, they're able to gain skills of how better to do things, especially as we go into the arena of technology and doing things. It is funny. This company that is recruiting is very strict. And I'm very proud to say that I think for the first time in a long time, people are being recruited based on what you're bringing to the table. Nobody cares your tribe, where you came from, your gender. Nobody cares. You get to the recruiting center in the morning, there is nobody who is trying to say, "Hi, we are Peter Mbele." Hakuna. It's first come, first serve. And you all go to the room, nobody is passing anybody. You get your documents, you're pre-screened. If you don't pass, you go. If you pass, you follow the line. And then you're interviewed. And many people are flopped, unfortunately. You find that out of maybe 100 people interviewed, 5 are taken because of the standards are very high. This is a country that is in the first world in terms of technology and the way they operate. So you have to be very good at what you do. So many people, the first day was a big joke. A few days ago, people came, you're coming for an interview wearing a hoodie. You know, people came to interview wearing sneakers. No, they can't get shoes, you know. You can even borrow a suit from somebody. People came wearing T-shirts, you know. Hata singenge ni ngombe, you know. I mean, you're coming for a job interview.
No, but if I'm coming for a job, you know, to support construction.
Yeah. No, I mean, these are coming for hospitality jobs. Even for construction, you need to look neat. You need to be organized. You need to wear good shoes or whatever shoes you are. You get an overall from somewhere so that as you do your wiring, you look the part. You know, and so it is a process for Kenyans to also know that looking for a job is also a job. You have to have the right figure. Today, there was a young man who was annoyed because they refused to interview him because he had a beard. And he said, "Wananiambia nikanywe, sitaki kunyoa. They should interview me hata kama beard." Wakasema, "But the work you're doing, you can't go and start serving people in a restaurant, in a hotel, with a beard." You know, that's the industry standards. It's like telling the military, I want to join the military, lakini nitaenda uko na rastas, nitaenda na afro. Hey, you must take me. You know what I mean? So people have to realize that you are employed to work in a company, and the company has preferences of the kind of people it wants to employ.
Were there agents involved? Was there some payment involved?
Yes. There's no agents involved. You know, I had the first question you read. The problem we've had, and this is what I've been trying to correct since I got into this ministry, the problem we've had in this country when it comes to job migration has been in corruption. People have been conned. People have killed themselves because they have paid thousands of shillings, hundreds of thousands. People have sold their shambas, and agents have eaten their money. It's a very, very, very bad thing. Currently, as we speak, we've got 5,000 Kenyans stuck in Qatar, living as refugees in Qatar, who were taken there during the World Cup period. Some of them promised jobs that never actually realized themselves. And because they have paid 200, 250,000, they refused to come back home. They are staying there until they get a job from somebody. So that's one of the issues that I'm dealing with. 5,000 Kenyans who are being fed by the International Organization for Migration every day. In Qatar, it's happening all over. And it's because of these rogue agents in our country that are doing these things. So when you hear people asking, oh, is this a government thing? Because all of them wanted to participate. On the first day at KICC, we had agents who came who are not part of the game, started to charge people, bring 100,000, bring your passport, I'll take it through. Ukora. You know, we discovered a vehicle with about 40 passports. Somebody already collected people's passports, you know, so that you can give money. So what you're trying to do is also clean the system so that it doesn't matter, you know. You can come, and what we're asking people to do is this. You come in. When you're interviewed, you pay nothing at all. Once you've been interviewed and you second interview and you get a job, there'll be some fees that you'll need to pay, definitely. For example, nobody will pay for you to do medicals, because once you do your medicals and you fail, the company hiring you should not absorb your failure rate. You know what I mean? Because you have failed your medicals. There are other small costs of processing, but very little. And those are costs whereby you know where your money is going. You know, and if you pay a fee and you fail your medicals, then the rest of the money for the processing is returned to you because you're not traveling. So I want to keep this as clean as possible so that people know that I am doing something. You know, I'm not being asked for money. I'm not being asked to provide, to go sell my shamba so I can get a job, providing opportunities for people.
So which company is this that has its finger in the pie of hospitality, nursing, construction?
It's a multi, how do you call it? It's a mega company. It's a company that is involved in hoteling, in medical, in construction, in agriculture. It's a huge holding company with several companies within it. So we've got several companies working all over the Middle East, from Algeria to Libya to Qatar to Saudi to Qatar to, you know, all those, and Dubai. But it is a Qatar company, you know, with a big holding. It's a very huge company, you know, a multi-trillion-dollar company. And so it has the ability to absorb. Its workforce currently is in the excess of 65,000 people in different tiers. They own 5-star hotels, they own 5-star hospitals, they own factories for this and that. So they have the ability to recruit. And I was talking to the CEO, the owner of the company the other day, and they're so happy with what is happening in Kenya. He said that they're increasing our quota by another 20%. So that means we can get up to 10,000 Kenyans to work for that company.
Is it true that people came in all the way from Moyale and points?
people came from us very far. I was being told a story this morning about some young men came all the way from Busia, from Western Kenya, and they were lining up at 6 o'clock in the morning. They were the first people. And the good thing is that they got hired, you know. Others came from as far as Moyale. You know, people are sleeping at the gate. You know, people came from Nyahururu, could not go back home because the line couldn't get to them in the morning, so they slept there at KICC, you know, in the grounds of KICC at night, so that in the morning they would be there to get a job. And, you know, this is what the lady you showed here in the story that you gave, woke up in Nakuru, came the whole night. I mean, she traveled the whole night, came early in the morning to be tested, and now she got hired. She doesn't have a godfather. She saw the story on television, in the newspapers, and she came. She put her papers together. She followed the instructions. She got some little money. She came and she got a job. She didn't have to know Mutua. She didn't have to know her local MP or the president or anybody. This is for Kenyans, because William Ruto in campaigning said, mtoto maskini na mtoto tajiri watakaa meza moja. And this is what we want to push, that you don't need to know somebody. The job of government is to provide you an opportunity to be able to lift up your life. Kenyans don't want a handout. Young men and women in Kenya, they want a hand up, and that's what this government is providing them.
So what are the terms of engagement? How long will they be employed for? How frequently will they be able to visit their families in Kenya? What happens if they get sick there? Have these things been worked out?
Yes,
and who's hosting them?
One of the things that is done is that in terms of the job contract, and I looked at it, is that you are paid a certain salary. For example, the lowest salary is about 1,000 reals. You know, it's for the cleaners and others. That's about 37 to 40,000 Kenya shillings. That's the lowest salary. But this is tax-free. You're not taxed. And on top of that, you're given accommodation, and you're given transport to work, and food while you're at work. And that's why the Middle East is very lucrative. So you don't have to go out of your pocket to pay for accommodation or some of those things, or even transport to work. And in addition to that, you're given full medical cover, so that in case you're sick, you're treated. You know, it is their responsibility to treat you. You're also given holiday breaks so that you can actually get a ticket to come home, I think after 1 or 2 years, to be able to come home and see your relatives. And if you need to come home for anything, you come home anytime. So these are normal working parameters that are keeping to International Labour Organization standards. So Qatar follows the ILO standards, which we've looked at, which are the same ones we've signed in. And so they are the very good standards for employees.
And the nightmare stories, Dr. that we've heard from other parts of the Middle East, and Saudi Arabia to be in particular, do they exist in Doha as well, or are you going to make sure that these Kenyans who are going there don't go through the horrendous situations that some, not all Kenyans, go through in Saudi?
I think it was quite unfortunate what we saw publicized about Saudi and that breakdown of communication. I actually went there as a foreign minister, and I sat down and listened, and it's much more complex than that. But you see, that's also targeting mostly the house helps. You know, here we are not talking just about the house helps. We are not recruiting house help in this recruitment. We are recruiting skilled workers who can be able to go and do their work and continue. One of the things I want to tell Kenyans is this, is that do not be afraid to work. I've worked in the Middle East myself. I've worked in the US, I've worked in Australia. And you look at countries like Singapore, you look at countries like China, you know, India. They have benefited a lot from their workers working overseas. Philippines, you know, have become famous for exporting their labor and getting people to work and send money home. So it is an opportunity, especially if you're young. And the contracts are mostly for 2 to 3 years, renewable, according to how you're going. But the most important thing I want to say this is that it is important to know what you're doing. There's been a very high level of rejection of people because of the skills. These guys, I may call them guys, these ladies and men who are here to interview Kenyans, they don't know about you. They don't know you're a Kamba, you're a Luo, you're a Kikuyu, you're a Masai, you're a Kalenjin, you're a Pokomo. They don't care. You know, all they want is skills. So they go through your certificates. You pass certificate, then they tell you, okay, here is a board, electrical board. Can you do this? Can you connect that CCTV? Can you do the things that you've said you can do? And then they just sit and watch. You know, so if you don't know, it's very clear within a few seconds that you are lying and that you never really got that skill, because they are only hiring the creme de la creme, because they don't have time to go and train people. And they want you to go and fit with other people. Masons, ukuta, piga plaster. you know, unaharibu simiti, unaenda nyumbani. You know, you do things accordingly, and they teach you, they tell you, okay, watch me. And they do it, they tell you, do it. You know, so they are teaching people even as a trainer. And it's been very good because I want to give a really praise to Kabete National Polytechnic, and the principal there is called Mr. Mushemi. He's a very chap man and very sharp. And you can see that the training in that institute is very good. And one of the things that we've done is we have embedded the trainers of Kabete National Polytechnic with the interviewers. So they are seeing the quality that is needed out there. They are seeing what we do wrong. They are seeing what we do better than them. They are seeing the kind of questions that are being asked. Do this, and they are realizing, aha, you need to do this. Because these people are very particular about measurements, about straight lines, about getting the cement properly, about getting the wiring, the plumbing. You saw people doing plumbing, all those things. Don't waste pipes, you know? Do it properly. If it's a bend, it's supposed to be a 90-degree bend. Don't make it 92 degrees, you know? So they're also learning so they can tweak. And I hope that one day our polytechnics, our TVETs, and the Ministry of Education is doing very well. The TVETs, the PS, the way we are working, we'll have a very good skill, you know, base in our country that we can serve the rest of the world.
Because it sounds like if you're saying they've presented certificates and then they're tested, that means they should be good and they should know what they're doing.
Exactly. And so that is where now we have to keep up to international standards. Because if you have been told that you're a plumber and they tell you to do this, no, unafanya madhogodhanyo, it is very clear either you slept in class or the teaching was not up to par. And it's becoming very clear. I want to mention it's becoming very clear how some TVETs are doing. Some students of certain training institutes are passing very fast. Others are not. And that shows you the level of training, you know. Kabete National Polytechnic, they're doing very well. They are graduates when they come there, and a few others. But others are not doing very well, you know. There are some from, there's one institution from Western Kenya that is doing very well. Wasingishu doing very well, you know. So some of them, they are failing. And you can tell, kweli, hawakufunzwa vizuri. But others, you can tell, you know, they have got the act together.
So you said out of every 105 passed, on average.
So 95 go home.
And these are the technical or across the board?
Across the board. Because even when they were doing hospitality, hiring waiters, and it's very clear, you've got your papers from Utalii, you've got all this, and you're told, okay, set the table. It's done in a 5-star hotel. And they stand and watch you, you know?
And if you can't do it?
If you can't do it, you can't do it, because those are basics.
If you don't know where the fork goes or the knife goes?
Yeah, you're supposed to know some basics. They're not even asking you the difficult things. If you're a chef, you're being asked, okay, if you're cooking this and this, what do you do? If you're a cleaner, you end up being a cleaner. Have you cleaned? Yes. You have cleaning experience? Yes. You're told, okay, you pour this kind of soup on a carpet. What chemical do you use to wipe it with?
So what are the openings that remain? Because I saw you said hospitality.
Hospitality is closed. They got people in hospitality, and they're very happy with the quality of people they're getting, even in nursing. You know, they are quite amazed by our quality of nurses in this country. You know, they can tell we've got very high quality of nurses. So we train in some areas very well. Now, we have a lot is done. For example, now for tomorrow, we've been able to extend for a day. What they are looking for are now what are called crane operators, you know, and riggers. These are people who are able to control movement of cranes. They need to be able to understand all those things. They're looking for masons. They're looking, you know, tomorrow we've closed on masons. They're looking for crane riggers. They're looking for lightweight drivers. And this is the biggest joke. And this will be at KICC. So if you're a driver, lightweight driver, it's at KICC. The crane and carpenters and steel fixers should go to Kabete, and nurses to KICC. So tomorrow we've kind of, you know, constrained. So tomorrow it's only people who deal with machinery, cranes and riggers, carpenters and steel fixers at Kabete, and lightweight drivers and nurses at KICC. Now drivers. So the failure rate for drivers is even higher. You know, so what they do is that they set lanes. They set lanes for you, and they give you a car. Can you take this car from here to there without crossing the lane or hitting the walls that have been put there? Watu wanagonga ukuta. You know, you're told you go 2 cars like this when you're going together. When you get there, turn left. They are going there hata mwingine anatoa mkono nje dirishani. The way we do it in Kenya. You know what I mean?
Tabia za hapa.
Tabia za hapa. You know what I mean? But people are laughing and saying, actually, nimeanguka lakini nimeanguka kweli. You know, you are told this is a parking lot. You know how like you sit in Nairobi, you sit in many countries. You are told to park underground. And you park underground, it's very thin parking spaces. You're told, okay, now take your vehicle, park it underground. Majority people can't park. Can't park through thin spaces.
Basics.
You know, the basics. So people are coming back. I'm seeing people looking, go practice and come back. And they're starting noticing that if you're turning left, you signal. You know, you're turning right, you stop. So the testing is very high, it's very, very strict. But because they want to take you to their roads, which are fast roads, highways, with very, very minuscule accident rates, because everybody's a good driver.
Maybe because we are defensive drivers.
Yeah.
or always overlapping.
Defensive driving.
Yeah.
We're defensive drivers.
Dr. Ari, before we go to questions real quick, who's paying for the tickets to go overseas?
Okay, no, this is how it is. These Qatari people, they said that they don't believe in 100% paying for a worker. Because workers, traditionally, they have seen that with the experience in India, Bangladesh, other African countries. If a worker pays nothing and gets to their country, they have nothing to lose. After 3 months, on a choker, I want to go home. They lost nothing, apart from just going for the interview. So they have said they're not going to pay for everything, but they are paying for the big things for them to come there. So they have paid for their people to come here and interview. Then you'll have to meet a small fee to pay for your medicals, which are yours, and maybe visa and a few other items. But the tickets to go, when you get there, you're given a home to stay in. They even give you money for you to do shopping, you know, for buying furniture and a few things for your house. So they take care of all those basics when you get there. But here, as you get ready, they're not going to pay for your fingerprinting. They're going to pay for your passport. That's your job. You know what I mean? So basically, the basics that you do anywhere for any job in the world, you pay for those. But the big monies, air tickets and all those, they're paying for that. And that is how I've been able to constrain and say that no agency is going to ask money from people that I want to get these jobs for and everything. It's going to be very direct and make sure that people see that it is above board and it is transparent for everyone, because it's about giving people opportunity to be able to go. Now, they identified, because they say that government is not in the job of recruiting. You know, I can't process all this paperwork. So they identified an agent that they've been working with, who is a Kenyan registered agent, and they said, we want to work with this agent. Are you okay? I said, well, I don't know this agent. Can I see? We checked with the National Employment Agency. This agency doesn't have any problems, has worked in the Middle East. They said, sour, they can work with this agency. So that agent is the one now who will be in charge of now doing the nitty-gritties, you know, they're making sure the forms are signed, the people are lined up, the people are prepared for pre-departure training, because you have to be given a talk and told, this is how life is over there, this is the hardship, this is what happens if you get sick, if you get homesick, you know what I mean? Yeah. So all that has to be done by somebody who they will compensate that person according to their rates and rates. So they are working with one agency. And so when they tell you, we are coming to Kenya, want to work with somebody, you say, sawa, as long as that person is there. But you've got other agencies who are complaining. They've written me a long letter that why are you favoring some people and all this. Well, I'm not favoring, you know. And even one of the people who's written me a letter has cases at the DCI for conning people. You know, they are also looking at this as an opportunity to eat. And I want to tell these agencies, I'm sorry, in this government, William Ruto, as long as Alfred Mutua is in this docket, you are not going to con our people and get our people to kill themselves because of stealing from them. We are going to clean up this system. So I'm going to go regional, because I can't have everyone coming to Nairobi. And lots of agencies are very good, and I'm going to work with them, tell them, bring your letters, bring your jobs that you've been given from overseas. Let's work together. Let's go to these different regions across the country in the month of November and do what you're doing in Nairobi away from Nairobi. So people don't have to come from Moyale to here. We can go set up in Marsabit. We can go set up in Turkana. We can go set up in Kericho. We can set up in Machakos. We can set up in Lamu, you know, in Malindi. So we want to go across the country, go to Vihiga, and, you know, set up, and people come and do what we're doing here in Nairobi, closer to them.
Yeah. Questions?
Will they be allowed to retain their passports once they're in the Middle East?
Yes, yes, yes. They keep your passport. That's
individuals.
You keep your passport. Nobody takes your passport in Qatar.
But salaries are non-negotiable, right?
No,
I mean,
no. You keep your passport.
Okay.
You keep your passport.
And salaries are non-negotiable. I mean, they tell you it's 170,000.
It is, yeah. That is the rate they have set.
Yeah.
But there are also increments over every year, according to International Labour Organization.
So you need to fill these positions by when?
The work, the jobs that they're interviewing now, the 3,000 are needed in November and December. These are this year's jobs. So these people need to go before Jamhuri Day. Yeah, we need to get them in the country working before Jamhuri Day. And then they have given us a breakdown of these jobs all the way to around September next year. So people will be going at different times.
All right, lots of questions coming in thick and fast, folks. Let's go to the magic wall.
This is Emeje Moses, who says, what is the government's long-term plan to address the rising unemployment rate in Kenya? Shouldn't we be creating sustainable job opportunities here instead of depending on foreign labor markets?
Yes, we should, and that is where we are going. And I totally agree. You can't be shipping your people just to go and work overseas. It is complementary. They work together. So as we grow the economy, one of the things that I'm doing also is getting BPOs. These are processing organizations. The president was also in Germany trying to get car manufacturers to come and do manufacturing in Kenya. So these are going together. It's a complementary. It doesn't say that you going overseas that so we've stopped. I mean, look at these people who are working as electricians, you know? I mean, there's not enough job here at this time, but there's still work in Kenya to do. So we relieve the pressure as we grow the economy to get to that place of getting sustainable jobs.
All right, let's take a couple more questions.
Absolutely, they're coming in very thick and very fast. Who's this? Major Moses says, please, Jeff and Olive, ask Waziri why the government is so quick to send nurses abroad when there is a shortage here in Kenya. Why can't they be employed here?
All right, let's take a set of questions first. The next question is from Vincent Sunda. People are being chased away due to experience of 3 years. Let the CS tell us, how can one get experience of 3 years without employment or a job?
One more there. CS Alfred Mutua promised opening new markets to recruitment agencies at KICC meeting. Why is this not happening? Why is he not involving licensed recruitment agencies in this move? Why didn't he support the recruitment agencies and stabilize labor migration industry? Should we answer those three?
Yeah, let's do them.
Okay, the first one is about nurses shortage.
Yeah.
The challenge we have in our country is not that there's a nurses shortage. I mean, we've got lots of nurses in our country. We have overproduced nurses. It's only that our economy is not able to absorb them. We don't have the salaries to pay the nurses to absorb them. The ratios are not too bad. Remember, I was a governor in Machakos. I was able to hire 800 nurses to serve in Machakos. So nurses are taken, but we've got more people who are nurses who can go and work overseas, who can get other opportunities. And that's what we're opening them for. Now, it ties in when they ask about 3 years experience. The 3-year experience for medical professions is not by the company or the government of Kenya. This is the regulations by the Qatar government. It has said that if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse coming to work in their country, they need you to have 3 years postgraduate experience. That's the quality they want. Those are the people they're getting from India, from Philippines, from different countries in the world, with that level of qualification. So it's a standard. It's set by the government. Anybody with less than 3 years will not get a visa. The government will refuse to give them a visa. So why hire for somebody who will not get a visa? And that's why we're trying to be as transparent and very, very clear. Now, the agency is asking about why did we're in the process. This is just the first opportunity that I've gotten to come and give Kenyans an opportunity, a job. And I'll be traveling to many other countries to get opportunities so that agencies can come and get those jobs. It is good for them to note. And this is where agencies are salivating, thinking there's money. There's hardly any money to be made here because the company we're dealing with, it is a company that was introduced to us by the Minister of Labor of Qatar. And this company does not pay agency fees.
By the way, what's the name of the company?
I don't want to mention the name of the company at this time. They don't pay agency fees. And they say, we recruit for you, we don't pay agency fees. Basically, we will provide employment for your people, but we don't give agents any fees. You know what I mean? Let people process their things and bring them here. We'll take care of this and that and that. So it becomes very difficult to tell agents go now, I've got these jobs, but there's no agency fee. How are they making their money? You know what I mean? That's why I took it upon myself to say, okay, let me run with it as, you know, as a representative of the Kenyan government. So there are no agency fees, so there's no conmanship. Because the work we are doing, they would be charging people 200,000 shillings, you know? So they could recover their money, these agents. So I want them to know that this work doesn't have agency fees. You know, there's no money to be made here. The mad people who will be making money out of this are the people being recruited because they're going to get jobs and make money into the pocket. It's a big change. But we'll get others where there are agency fees, where they can come in and compete and make their own money because they're in the industry to make money also.
So Sam Gituku asks here, what is the role of the National Employment Authority in this process?
The National Employment Authority, their job is to look at basically ensure that the agencies are behaving, you know, regulate the agencies, and also be able to look and make sure that everybody taking part in this process is done very well. And we've been working very well with the National Employment Agency who follow under my ministry. You know, they had to tell me the person we're using is licensed, no case with him. They are following all this together, and actually I was with them when we were seeking these jobs.
The business environment in the country has been decried as prohibitive on account of taxes and other measures. What is this government doing to allow businesses in Kenya create job opportunities?
Well, I think one of the things, and you've seen some of the reforms that are being done in this country, is that we want to be able to widen this tax base so that we don't concentrate on just a few people who are paying taxes, which makes it very difficult for government to raise enough revenue. You saw the whole ulabaloo during the, when we were talking about the finance bill, when people misunderstood about what was the intention of the finance bill, which is basically expand the tax base. Because once you expand the tax base, it means that you don't have to tax Olive or Jeff Koinange a lot. You know, you tax them a little, but you're taxing more people so that more areas are being taxed so that you can get more money to provide services. Education has to be paid for. Water has to be paid for. Roads have to be paid for. Medical has to be paid for. You know what I mean? So these things have to be paid by somebody. You know, government has to run and services have to be given. And so we've been in a country whereby we tax the few a lot. So that makes it very, very prohibitive. We tax companies a lot of money. But if we expand the tax base, we collect more. And President William Ruto has a very good plan to look at what we can do in mining, what we can do in agriculture. And as you know, we are building all these, you know, factories and value addition centers across the country. You've seen them coming up. You look at what we're doing with the housing program. The housing program is doing exactly what we're trying to do here. It's hiring a lot of young people who don't have jobs to work in the housing program. It's providing thousands of jobs, which are now, you know, in turn, providing income to the people. So there's a plan. And the plan is on track to grow this economy, to make it easier for Kenyans to live and work without paying a lot of taxes, because we broaden the base and increase the income of people in the pocket of the people of Kenya.
Look, Tari, that's a conversation for another day. We'll have to take it up, but we'll continue following this story as we go along, because 3,000 now, another 3,000, and another 2,000, 8,000 total, maybe even 10,000.
And right, my plan is within the next three weeks or so is to have more from different countries. And we've gotten offers from Australia, looking at offers from Austria, offers from Germany and all that. So I want to combine all of this and take them to the ground and take them to the road and give an opportunity for Kenyans to actually get something to do. You know, you're told that you pay with the sweat of your brow, but you need to be given an opportunity to sweat and make money. And that's the opportunity we're giving. So it's not just about jobs. It's giving people a hand up, an opportunity to say that you can work for your life. And let me just say this as I finish, is that people coming for employment, it's difficult. And I feel, you know, people showed up at 6, 7 o'clock at Kabete National Polytechnic. And even some were not gotten to by the evening because the numbers are too many. You know, and it's sad that we're getting so many people for so little jobs. But we are learning, you know, and I know that the next and the next one will have an array of interviewers and make the system go faster. So these are, you know, a learning process. We are learning. People have waited. People have stayed hungry and all that. Even this girl that you've seen, I don't think she ate the whole day. I looked at her at the end, and she didn't look like she had eaten. I asked her, where do you come from, you know? And you could tell people have been suffering, just waiting. But they are sacrificing because they believe that this is an opportunity. But what they loved most about the whole thing is that there's no favoritism. Hakuna mtu anajua, hakuna mtu anapitishwa. mulikuja asubuhi mapema, you know you came after this person and this person came after you, and you'll not find the person behind you going in front of you. And I think that's fairness. Kenyans just want fairness, and the people are okay with that. As long as people feel like, okay, tume line up sisi wote, hakuna mtu anapitishwa back door, we are all going on the line. Ula ameingia kitoka amepata kazi hajapata kazi was in front of me, I'm not seeing a new face. That's the kind of fairness that we want to deliver as people are looking for work, so that you are judged by what time you got in and what you've been able to bring to the table.
Just a follow-up to the one on the National Employment Authority. Should they not have a database of these people with these skills, such that if an employer comes and says, I'm looking for A, B, C, D, you go, you look at the database, you say, okay, I have so and so and so and so and so. Why subject people to all these lines?
The database is there. The database is there, and within the database system, it's something I thought about quite a bit. People have gone and actually registered, but this company insisted that even with a database system, they would rather interview people themselves. And then I looked at the experience of who is in the data system, who has known about that employment authority data system, what documents do they have there, how clear are they, you know what I mean? So I thought, let's make this an open system that people can come in. But also, what we'll be doing is that companies will be saying, I like this kind of skill, and we're able to go to National Employment Agency and say, okay, these are the kind of skills for ICT, these are the ones we interview, and we call them for an interview. So they're able to be interviewed for ICT, they're able to be interviewed for this, able to be interviewed for this, able to be interviewed for this. But we realize also, even those people, I mean, it is quite telling, because a lot of people who came are also in this database, and some of them did not pass. You know, because it's not just a matter of being listed, it's also a matter of also opening this opportunity to many people. People coming from Moyale were not in the database, but they got hired. People coming from Nakuru, this girl, she was not in the database, she got hired. So at times it's good to diversify and tell the entire country what you're doing. So it doesn't seem to be just a few select people who have the advantage of having a smartphone or internet connection who are able to apply. The president is rolling out a very good program in constituencies where we'll have ICT hubs. Now it will be better for us because we'll be sure people have gone and registered, and I'll be able to tell people, I'm coming to this county, can you register? So that people are already registered, we've gone through everything, so when they come, the process is not manual, it's faster and moves on faster for everybody.
So how many jobs do we have in the bag?
Right now we are looking at, for this Qatar, 3,000. But I'm looking at the National Employment Agency.
No, in terms of out of the 3,000.
Yes.
Because you're saying hospitality, capacity.
All taken.
Nursing, I guess there's still openings. So we're talking about how many people have gotten jobs.
We are looking at close to 2,000. We're at maybe 2,700.
So there's only 300 spots left.
Yeah, about 300, 400 slots left. That should be filled by tomorrow.
Wow. Before we let you go, Fred Obach Machoka.
Yes, yes.
He's
the
watching
blackest
you.
Man in Black Africa.
In Black Africa.
Yes, yes.
You know what he says? He says, this Sengenge Yangombe that you mentioned.
Yes.
He says, that's his slogan.
Oh, ni yake hiyo. Okay, yangu ni maendeleo chap chap.
Kuna mtu ameuliza ulikuwa unataka tuende afanye masonry na suti.
Ati when?
You wanted people to go be
No, they were masonry wearing people are coming for electricity, masonry. They're wearing the overall. I mean, look at the pictures we're seeing now. I mean, they're not wearing suits, but they're dressed like fundis. You know, you come to job, you're wearing you come dressed like a fundi. You borrow an overall, you get an overall for somebody, you come wearing the proper shoes, then you look like you know what you're doing because that's what you're trained. This is what you need to do, you know, the skills. There's something I want to mention before I leave that's very important. What our TVETs are doing, including Kabete National Polytechnic, is something called recognition of prior learning. You get a lot of people who have been masons, fundi, have been electricians, but they have never really gone through school. Wamejulia tu watu wa mkono, unakuwa fundi, ulianza kutengeneza dirisha kidogo, umekunja kuchuma, you become a steel fixer. So we're giving certificates of recognition of prior learning, whereby you go, they test you for your skill, and then they take you through some things that you need to know, like occupation hazards, and you're tested on a few things. Then you're given this one, so you don't have to go through school because you already have 5-7 years experience welding. Today they chose a lady, one of the best welders today was a lady, and she was hired very good welding lady. And she's never been to school, probably. You know, amejulia huko jua kali, but she has the experience. Now she's taken through, you're given recognition of prior learning, you're talking about occupational health hazards, the law that governs your protection and all those things. Then you get a certificate and you get a job. Yeah, it's very, very something that we're doing as a government of Kenya Kwanza.
So you're enjoying your new portfolio, huh?
Yeah, me, I enjoy all portfolios.
Tourism, foreign affairs, zote.
Oh, I enjoy. You know, you're given work to do, you do. And it's not the portfolio, it's a commitment for the country. You know, the president has an agenda and he hires you to help him fulfill this agenda. So it doesn't matter what portfolio, it's like playing in a football team. Once you play in the back, at times you're in center, defender, at times you're in the midfielder, at times you're in left wing, right wing, at times you're attacking, as long as you win. And you win as a team, and it's all about teamwork.
What are you? Are you a striker now? Or? Dr. Alfred Mutua, good to see you.
Asante sana. All I can say is 3 words: mbele iko sawa.
I thought he was going to say Mandeleo chop chop, but okay, that too.
Well, you said it for me.
Dr. Alfred Mutua, Cabinet Secretary for Labor and Social Protection, talking about all these job offers. Look out for them, folks. There's more coming. Keep tweeting, and there's more news coming after the break. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff.
At Burrows at Citizen TV, Kenya.
Hashtag is Sunday Live. Sunday Live takes a break. We'll be back in the meantime. Coming up.